thanks so much for being here. I'm instructor Dwayne Jenkins. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the minor scale. I'm currently playing one of my favorite guitars. This is one I actually built myself. I call it Frankenstein because I built it off of a bunch of parts I found on eBay. So it's got a bunch of parts from all over the place, and it came out pretty good. I thought it came out pretty good. It plays real nice. Got a nice little action and stuff, and I can really tear it up on it, which I really like. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, what we're going to be doing today is talking about the minor scale. I had another student ask me about that, the difference between the major scale and the minor scale. How do you take a major scale and turn it into a minor scale? And it's really not that difficult if you know the little kind of trick of the trade. So that's what we're going to look at today. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for future notifications so you know when I load up my videos. And today we're going to take a look at how to take a major scale and turn it into a minor. Now I want to explain to you this on a piece of paper because it's pretty simple. It's a lot easier to understand as well. When you're working on your theory kind of stuff like this, you don't really even need the guitar in your hand. Then you take the guitar and you look at your notes and you can figure out how it works, okay? Now let's just say what we're going to do is we're going to take a major scale and we're going to turn it into a minor, okay? Now let's just say, I'm going to go with A for instance, okay? So let's just say we have our A, our B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A, okay? Now we're going to give each one of these a number value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the A and the A are the same. This is kind of going into the second octave. All right. Now, in the key of A major, okay, this is A major, we have sharps. All right. Now, in order to know what those are, we need to go through that do, re, mi kind of thing, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, if you go through that on your fretboard on a string, like say your 6th string, you're going to see very clearly that we have 3 sharps. We have our C sharp, F sharp, and our G sharp. Okay, so we can honestly say that this key has 3 sharps. And when you're looking at sheet music, regular sheet music, you know, a standard notation, you see the sharps up here in the corner in the, you know, it's called a time signature. You don't really see it in tabs, but in regular sheet music, you see it, you'll see these little sharp signs up here. If there's 3 of them, that means you're in the key of A major, okay? If you have 4, 2, if you have 1, it's the key of G, all right? Now, we know those have to be sharpened because it fits into that do, re, mi. Okay, so we can honestly say that our 3rd note is a C sharp, our 6th note is a F sharp, our 7th note is a G sharp. So we have 3 notes that are sharpened, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th. Now, how do we make it a minor? Well, by making it a minor, we flatten 3 notes. So to make it a minor, we flatten 3 notes. And those notes are going to be your 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th. Okay? So in this respect, here in this instance here, this example, that means we're going to flatten the C, the F, and the G. So now, if we have a minor, so we'll say minor here. Now we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Okay, so we once again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now what we've done is we've flattened the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th. And this goes with any major key. Okay, any major key that you're playing, it doesn't matter if it's A, B, C, D, all through all 12. You know, you have 12 notes in the musical alphabet. Any of them, this works with any of them, okay? We're just using this A as an example, okay? Now, if you look at this, now we have A major is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, okay? If we flatten these 3 notes, we now have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Now, if you look at this as well, like I talked in the last video lesson, is we talked about the relative majors and minors. Okay, every major has a relative minor and every minor has a relative major. Okay, now this isn't the relative minor of A major. It is the minor but not the relative minor. Okay, The A minor has a relative major, and what it is C. And the reason why is because if you look at C major, it's going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now C doesn't have any of these sharps in it. And the reason why is because it's got to line up with that do, re, mi. Okay, that's how you know it's a major scale, because it has that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And if you go through your C scale, you start on C and you go through that do, re, mi, you're going to see very clearly that these are the notes that are going to fit in there. There's not going to be any sharps. Okay, that's just why this is one of the scales that's most common to start with in music, is because there's no sharps, or accidentals is what they theoretically call them. They could be sharps or flats, doesn't matter. Now if we look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can clearly see that these notes are the same as these ones. So we can come to the conclusion that our C major is relative to our A minor. Okay? Those are two relative scales. We have A minor and C major. And if you look at your guitar, which I'll show you in just a second, how that works. Okay? So that's why these are relative, because they're made up of the same notes, and this works with any kind of chord that you work with. It doesn't matter, scale, whatever it is. Okay, so what is the lesson we learned here? To make a minor, we want to flatten 3 notes: the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th. And that goes with any key you're playing in. I don't care if it's A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. It doesn't matter, any of them. Okay, so for instance, let's say we were playing. Let's say we had G, the key of G, G major. It could be a G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. Now in this particular key, 3, 4. I know my handwriting's not the best, but you understand. Okay. So we have 8 notes, G to G, and if we go through the do, re, mi, okay, there's an actual formula for that. And if you master that formula, you'll know exactly what the major scale is going to be. And I'll write it for you here. There's going to be a whole step between the 1 and the 2, a whole step between the 2 and the 3. There's going to be a half step between the 3 and the 4, another whole step between the 4 and the 5, another whole step between the 5 and the 6, whole step between the 6 and the 7, and then a half step between the 7 and the 8. That right there is your major scale formula right there. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. If you remember that, you'll be able to find that major scale anywhere along the fretboard on any string, doesn't matter, in any key, okay? Now, once again, we talked about we need to flatten. To make it a minor, we need, this actually is an F sharp, sorry about that, that's an F sharp, because that's a whole step. So if we know that that's a whole step, that would naturally be an F sharp, because naturally E and F are next to each other. But if it's a whole step apart, then it's got to be an F sharp, which would line up with the half step that comes between these two. So that makes sense, okay? So we know, so by knowing this formula, we know that there's 1 sharp. This formula right here is going to tell you the accidentals in every single key. So I would highly recommend that you master that formula, okay? That's what's great about it, is it lets you know what sharps are in a key or flat. Okay, so there we have a nice simple lesson on how to turn a major scale into a minor. You just got to flatten the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th, and that'll do the trick, okay? And it goes for any major scale, doesn't matter which one it is. But you got to know the notes in the major scale, okay? And that's why I mentioned that formula, that whole step, half step, whole step, or it's whole step, half step, whole step, half step, okay? And it works anywhere on the fretboard, okay? Like we could start with this note right here, okay? We go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And you can hear that do, re, mi. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Every single time. Now you just figure out those notes, you flatten them, you got your and you got your natural minor, okay? And it works with any note, any string, it doesn't matter. You know, if we were in G right here, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You can hear it going back and forth, okay? I would highly recommend that you do that. Get your guitar and figure out that scale formula every single time. And then all you have to do is figure out the notes, figure out the 3rd. Like for instance, if we're starting here, we know that this note's the 3rd, we flatten that. Now it's going to be 1, 2, there's the flat third there, you know, the 4th, the 5th, flat 6th, flat 7th, and then the 8th. And now we just made the minor scale. Okay, real simple, but you got to know those intervals. It's very, very important, okay? Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about this kind of stuff, like how to create your natural minor, your harmonic minors, your diminished minor, melodic minor, stuff like that, I would highly recommend check out my book, Lead Guitar Wizardry Volume 2. This is the second edition to Volume 1. What this book goes more into depth about, you know, guitar solos. I go over, start off with some licks within the minor pentatonic scales, which was in Volume 1. And I show you some licks that are in all 5 patterns. So if you know those 5 patterns and you're having a little issue with trying to figure out what to play with them, this book will show you some really great ideas on what to do with those patterns. And then I go into the modes, okay? Because the modes come out of the major scale. All right, that scale that I just showed you, there's modes that come out of each single one of those notes, and I show you that. Plus I also show you some licks that you can create out of those modes and where to play them and things like that, okay? And then I go into the minor scales, your natural minor, melodic minor, harmonic minor, diminished minor, your blues scale, you know. And then we go into some additional rock licks, some finger tapping, double stops, melodic sequencing, sweep picking arpeggios, and all this good stuff. And it's simple, really simple and easy to understand. I have it written in tablature as well. Got some good some diagrams in there. That's really easy to follow. It's not really a lot of technical jargon. And if you can check it out, you can find this on Amazon. And I also have it in my eBay store, Dwayne's Guitar World. You can check it out there. And if you do, I will send you a personally signed copy if you want to purchase it from there. But I'm telling you, if you've played some guitar solos and you want to kind of take them to the next level, this book here will show you how to do it, okay? So, thanks very much again for being here. Do that with your major scale. Make sure you know that major scale real well and know that if you flatten the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th, that's going to give you the natural minor, all right? And check out my website at DwaynesGuitarLessons.com because I got a lot of great free video lessons on there on electric guitar, acoustic guitar, music theory. If you have any questions, you want to take some lessons, be sure to contact me and we'll get you set up some private lessons, all right? So keep practicing, master this fretboard. I'm telling you, the more you know this stuff, the better you're going to be, all right? And I will see you, my friend, at our next lesson.